Day 3 on the road to It's been ages since we left Pyramid. As always, my companions and Carl are with me.
That's a good girl. Hey, you again! Hey! Haunting Adeline? No. Yeah. You know there's a whole community on TikTok of people that love reading those smutty books, right? Yeah, they blew up our last song. Well, listen, this might be too intense, but what if we wrote a spicy BookTok song from the perspective of the main character, Zayd? Oh, I've gotta hear that. Set me up.
I hope my shadow haunts you, so you can be with anyone else in the nighttime. Yeah, it's on me, but don't you dare forget that you're mine. It's somehow you broke me, darkness it holds me. The tears of a sinner, the arms of the holy. You're back and you want me, need to see you crawling. Yeah, I want you to beg.
I was Team Conrad from the beginning of The Summer I Turned Pretty books, and I'm still Team Conrad watching the Amazon Prime series, but for a completely different reason, and this is probably a hot take. The actor that plays Jeremiah is hard to look at. He's unsettling, and not because he is ugly, it's because he's perfect. God himself carved him from marble. He's like the beauty standard Greek god. He walks like he's walking on water, right? And he just like moves with confidence. And he's so perfect, right? Perfect eyes, like. And for that reason, I am Team Conrad, because he is not real. He is AI. Jeremiah is AI. This has nothing to do with the actor. He might also be AI. Hi, Gavin. And yeah, this only proves my theory about there's a spectrum and it's a horseshoe, and if you get too pretty, too attractive, you're right at the beginning. Or in this like unknown area at the bottom of the horseshoe. I don't know what to do then. Too perfect.
So why did my mind immediately go to a mafia arranged marriage romance? Hear me out, okay? Their families hate each other, but they decide they need to try to keep the peace, so they're going to do that through marriage, forcing them to get married. They also can't stand each other, but she moves in, they bicker a lot, but over time they start to like build a little friendship, right? But they always keep a little distance between themselves, until one morning she comes down and she notices this massive bouquet of flowers and a black Amex card sitting on the counter. So she walks over, she picks up the note, she reads it, and he's like, hey, we have the charity event tonight, like, go out, buy yourself whatever you want, I'll see you at 8. And she's like, say less. So she goes shopping, she has herself a day, but when she gets back in, she sees him and he's sitting at the counter. So she walks up to him, like, try to make conversation, and he kind of blows her off, and she's like, okay, I guess I'll get ready then. He's like, all right. She's like, okay, fine. So she gets changed. She comes back down in this beautiful dress, and she's like, hey, do you like it? Do you think it works for tonight? And he kind of looks at her, and he's like, yeah, it's fine. And she's like, okay then. So she gets up to like walk away when he grabs her and pulls her down onto his lap. She looks at him, she goes like, what? And he goes, go change. And she's like, what? You just said 5 seconds ago it was fine. He goes, no, I say now, go change. And she's like, sorry, what's wrong with this dress? And he goes, I don't want another guy looking at you with that dress on. And she's like, okay, people are going to look at us while I'm wearing clothes. What is your problem? And he goes, go change now. And she's like, no. Are you jealous? You don't want other men looking at me? And he's like, what am I going to have to do? Delete from the world all the men that look at you tonight to get your attention? And she goes, oh, you are jealous. And he just kind of like looks away, and she like grabs his chin. She pulls it back to her, and she looks at him and goes, no matter what man looks at me tonight, I'm coming home with you. And he kind of mutters under his breath like, yeah, because you have to. And she's like, what? And he's like, because you have to, not because you want to come home with me. And she leans in like super close and lightly whispers, she's like, whoever told you I didn't want to? And then she gives him the lightest kiss, right? And she pulls away, and he tries to like deepen the kiss, but she gets up and looks at him. She goes, change the tie. Blue looks better with your eyes. We're leaving in 15 minutes. And she winks and just walks away.
Here are 8 books that you need to read this fall. Also, I have my fall sweatshirt, my fall blanket, and my Diet Coke and my fall pumpkin cup. So it's fall now. I don't care. August is fall to me in here. Also, little disclaimer, some of these books I have read, and then some of them are also going to be on my fall TBR this year, so we can read them together. So first on this list, I obviously could not leave this off, a fall TBR, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have read this, but I'm going to be rereading it this year, and all you really need to know is dark academia, friend group going to an elite arts college, one of them gets... and this is the story of them trying to piece together what happened. And then in that same vein, we have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. A lot of people like to describe this book as The Secret History, but just in a different font. And I don't even necessarily disagree with that description, but I really enjoyed both of these books, and I think that they are both worth the read. And now for my romance rec, because obviously we have The Ex-Hex and The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, and I actually read these last year during October. They're like your essential October reads. They are 2 really cute little romances set in Graves Glen, which is basically like Halloween Town in this series, and they're just so fun. They're quick reads. I'm going to be rereading them this October, and if you haven't gotten to these, definitely read these around Halloween. It's like just such a fun way to really get into the Halloween vibes. The next book on this list is probably the book that I'm most excited to read this fall. It just came out, and it's Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, and the premise of this book just sounds so entertaining. So basically our main character is a vampire real estate agent, and the house that they are trying to sell is haunted by this ghost that was murdered, and the ghost won't stop haunting the house until the real estate agent solves its murder. Like, that just sounds so like funny and entertaining, and from the reviews I've seen of this book so far, they are all very positive, so I'm really excited for this. Also on this list, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang, and Babel follows the story of a young Chinese boy who moves to London to be part of this prestigious translation program at this very elite school, and he loves it for a while, but after spending some time in the program, he starts to realize that it is not what he thought it was going to be, and is in fact very unethical, and then he kind of has to make some decisions about what that means for him and what he's going to do about it. This book is definitely one of my 6-star reads. I loved it. After you finish this book, you will feel like your IQ has gone up like 30 points, and this is your homework, okay? If you're watching this video, save it. This is your homework. Next we have the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and I actually read the first book in this series, Caraval, when it came out like 5 years ago, and all I really remember is like a dark, magical carnival vibe going on, but I've heard that you have to read this trilogy before getting to Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is like her other series. I guess it's like a spin-off series. I don't know, someone can tell me, but yeah, I'm gonna be picking these back up in the fall for sure. Then we have Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is actually a YA book, but it's another dark academia. So from what I understand, obviously I haven't read it yet, but from what I understand is our main character enters into this like magical secret society at her school, and she is trying to avenge her mother's death and like figure out what really happened to her. And I think that maybe it's also a retelling of like King Arthur. And I'm so excited to read this. I've seen like everyone give it 5 stars, so I'm really hoping that I love this book. The last book we have on this list is Wayward by Amelia Hart. I haven't read this book yet, but from what I understand, it follows the story of 3 different generations of women in the same family. So one of them is like modern day 2019, another one is 1619, and then the third one is like World War II, 1942. And personally, I just love stories like about family, especially women and family. So I don't know, I just feel like this is gonna eat, and I've heard good things about it, so I'm excited to read it. So those are the 8 books that I think you guys should add to your fall TBR. And also, I just added my little Swifty Reader and iHeart Rezan stickers to my Etsy, so link in bio if you want a twin. We can all have them on our Kindles. And yeah, talk soon.
It's like a reward.